Hello and welcome back to another episode of That Pop Culture Pod. I am Juan Perez. Joining me today are two great friends, Ryan Adder, and somebody who would never get married unless it's for political gain, Hunter Crate. How are you guys doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, but I'm looking to increase my political influence through an arranged marriage, personally.
That's smart.
I have somebody you might want to maybe get married for political gain. I think his name's Juan Perez. You should look into that.
Oh, yeah, I have to check that out. I don't think Jess will ever forgive me if I object to your wedding as your best man. I think that she would never forgive me.
It just would be really sad because you'd end up on a t-shirt. There'd be a funeral right after the wedding.
Yeah, for real. I think local man gunned down at wedding.
Man, we're getting close, dude. I think we're like 35 days away, 36 days away. I know Jess just texted me earlier, but yeah, man, it's coming up quick, dude. It's gonna be a busy month.
Which in adult terms is like 2 days, 3 days away.
39. Yeah, no, seriously, dude. It's gonna be insane.
All I gotta say, dude, is I've been drinking there's like 35 days left. I've been drinking like 36 beers a day, 37 beers a day. I'm at like 35 beers a day, and I'm rocking at like 26 right now, and dude, I do not feel good. The day's gotta come sooner.
You're pre-gaming for the bachelor party, right?
No.
That's
no.
What it is. You're drinking 30 beers every day for 30 beers for 30 days.
He's just doing it in spirit. He's not even doing it for any specific reason. He just wanted to let us know he's got a problem.
I just said, yeah.
I just said my 30 PBRs and I'm going home.
It's listen, okay? It's the 100 beer day challenge, okay? Everyone's done it. Everyone's been there.
100 beers for 100 days.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But me and Hunter used to take down like a box of wine a day, so I mean, I can't really judge.
I'm literally drinking wine right now.
God bless. God bless.
Beer number 26.
Yeah, I'm not even close to Ryan. I'm like a half a bottle in.
I'm on a ethereal plane. My coworkers were worried about me during lunch.
Jesus. Give this man his keys. He's got to get home. Dude, I tried to have like a few sips last night because I'm ready to start my hardcore diet. So I was like, all right, I'm going to have some fun and then it's over. But it was just so hot in my house, I just did not even enjoy it. I had like 2 seltzers and I was like, yeah, I'm over this. This is not even worth it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Blueberry margarita smoothies.
Oh, God, that sounds incredible.
That does sound pretty good.
But anything margarita related, you know I'm just into balls to the wall. Wait, good girl time, sorry.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Look who's the one breaking good girl time now.
Yeah, I can't talk about my balls until
how the tables have turned.
Down the street from my house, there's a place that they serve pretty cheap margaritas, but it's in like a mason jar. But it's very good.
That's crazy.
And very strong.
I want to go to one of those bars. Have you I've been seeing these on Facebook. It's where like they go and give you a shot and then they just hit you in the face real hard.
Dude, we could just arrange that this weekend when you.
That's awesome, man. That's sick. That's what I needed.
You know what? Forget the shot. We're just hitting you in the face.
That's real buddies right there.
That's what friendship is about.
Hell yeah, dude.
30 beers, 30 smacks, 30 days. Welcome to the 30-30-30 challenge.
Jesus.
I was gonna say, I'm like, in relation to beer challenges, I tried to do the 999. I was at a Tigers game for Father's Day, and we were at a suite, so it was, free beer. So like, I didn't have to, pay for, Detroit's
$12
famous.
Bud Light.
Well, no. You know, like it was a special day. You know, like for Father's Day. So you know, like it was like $32 beer day. So you know,
$32
kidding.
beer day.
it was fucking. It was 50. It was a joke. It was $15 for a beer, but they were all free since my dad got a suite. Thank you, Dad. That shit was awesome.
Our number one fan on the pod.
So yeah. So the 999 challenge is it's nine beers, 9 hot dogs, 9 innings. I made it to the third inning with beers and I could not keep up. I made 5 hot dogs down and then I felt like I was about to die.
The thing about me
So
is, disclaimer, I might be him. I'm built different. I'm not even joking, I could definitely take down a beer every 5 minutes if I really wanted to. Like, I can
can't.
take beer down like it's no joke. My only problem is the bloating. As long as I don't have, like, any problems with bloating,
yeah,
dude, I can take them down
Well,
like
that's
it's no
what-
tomorrow.
well, yeah, that's what I was about to say is, you know, back in my prime in college, yeah, I absolutely could. But now I have like 2 beers and I feel bloated and gassy and I want to go take a nap.
Well, you also drink freaking 8% beers that are 450
True.
calories. each.
I'm drinking
I
a
had
Lion
2 of
Kugel
those.
right now.
True.
You're
Absolutely.
drinking
true.
what did you just say?
Lion Kugel? You never had those?
I've heard of Kugel's meat
It's like
from
a
Flint.
No, it's I'll send a picture of it after. It's Lion Kugel. They have a summer shandy that's like a lemony beer that comes out. It's really good. It tastes like a light beer, but just has like really heavy like accents of lemon.
It tastes like a light beer, but double the calories.
Tell me the percent, tell me the calories.
4.2%.
Oh, that's not bad.
Oh, okay.
No, I don't know where the calories are, but we can.
Well, anyways, before we get too far off topic, what I wanted to say, and it was a good segue.
136.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
Now
Now I look like an asshole.
I'm going to a Tigers game this weekend, and I was looking at the weather, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. It's going to be like 78 and sunny. That's amazing. I looked again today, like when I was leaving work, and now it already says it's going to be 89 and raining, and I'm like, how the hell did it change that much in one day?
That's crazy.
Yeah, we're supposed to get thunderstorms pretty much every day out here besides Saturday, and I'm hoping that's true because I'm having some people out for this art under the water tower thing Saturday. So
We'll just have to play Commander all day. It's okay. Don't worry. Rainy day inside, no power. Commander all day.
okay,
No power.
convince me.
Probably.
Oh wait, hold on. Did Juan? Speaking of Commander, did I already tell you or show you the Avatar: The Last Airbender magic card?
No.
That they
Yeah, that's
showed
pretty
off?
sick.
Well, I'm a bad friend.
Yeah, I
guys.
know.
I'm about to send it. Hold on. Yeah. It's,
Well, I think that. I think that we sent it, and then all of us were griping about it for a while. So kind of flew off the handle with it.
griping about it. You were griping
People
about
People also griped about it. I said it looked cool. I said it's still stupid that it's a main set, but let's not get into that.
God, someone's grumpy.
it. No, I think we should fight. I think we should fist fight.
Oh, this is
Oh, okay.
I
awesome.
sent Juan the card. So they're making a Avatar: The Last Airbender magic set, is what it seems like. This was spoiled at the Pro Tour, which just went on this previous weekend, which was a dog and pony show of sorts. But they had some cool cards they showed off still, including Avatar Aang, who transforms into Aang, Master of Elements.
Jesus, the Master of Elements one, that looks OP as hell.
Yeah, it's not easy. Doesn't look like it's very easy to transform
Yes.
him into that though, but it
It's
is
still,
definitely crazy.
it,
We'll
yeah,
post the
it's still
picture
really
on
cool
the
cards.
podcast,
And you want to know, maybe this is just me turning around on it, but I guess Avatar does somewhat fit into Magic. It has
Well,
the
they're
same
literally
kind of
magic
fantasy.
users.
Is it Magic that they have, or is it? I don't.
I mean, they're literally manipulating elements outside of their body through something.
Yeah.
That is literally through the spirit realm. Like, I would definitely say it is at least magic adjacent.
It's magic with
Yeah,
different
true.
terms. If you really think about it.
Yes,
Yeah.
that there you go. I was about to say, I don't I don't think it's like the term magic that they use, but magic adjacent's good enough for me.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, they
I
don't
don't know.
really have to use the term
Yeah.
for it to be
Mhm.
magic, you know.
And I mean,
I mean-
if we're talking about magic for half a second, I mean, like it doesn't matter in terms of themes. We literally had we have Edge of Eternities, which is a space themed one now coming out, which still looks kind of cool. It just feels odd,
I think
at least
they've decided to go in the direction of making as much money as possible and broadening
Yes.
their audience as wide as possible, which I understand from a business standpoint, but it means that there's a lot of sets and cards that don't really appeal to a lot of the classic players who are there for the original themes and ideas of the game that are kind of left behind. But
yeah,
you know,
Spider-Man.
at the end of the day, they have made some of the best-selling sets of all time, between like the Lord of the Rings set, which I did like because it was on theme, and the Final Fantasy set, etc., etc.
I didn't like that
yeah.
one.
I mean, like,
I didn't like that one.
which
Final
one?
Fantasy.
Shut the fuck up.
I didn't like it either.
I was just about to compliment. So for me recently, in terms of, I think I said it last time, it's like games have really not been doing that much. I think both you and I, Juan, were on the same page of like, I have been struggling to find a game that captivates me recently. Card games, though, absolutely have been holding my attention. The Final Fantasy Magic stuff has been sick. It's overpriced, but it definitely has like kept the hook in me. All the cards look sick. Actually, like the cards are also pretty good for like the most part. So I've been enjoying playing a format that I usually don't, which is limited. So I've been doing a ton of drafts over like the last week. I feel like I've been like improving on that a lot and learning a lot, because it's a whole different thing. Because like you essentially have to open up packs and then draft a card, like draft the deck out of what you pull out of that. So there's a lot of different strategies and a lot of different parts of Magic that I haven't really exercised in terms of engaging with this hobby. So like that, and then as well as I've been hosting Commander Night for the last 2 weeks. My place, which has been fun. Get 3 people over and play games for, I think we played for like 5 or 6 hours, but it's been a good time with card games recently, and it's been filling the hole that games have.
I've been in the opposite boat.
Yeah,
only
I know.
Magic time really has been when I run the Magic Club at the library. For the most part, though we are going to play some Commander this weekend. But
Yes.
I've mostly.
I'm
just
not
been
excited to
playing
get locked out of the
games.
game by you, but we're gonna play.
I don't have any Commanders like that put together right now, to be honest. So
Thank
you'll be
fucking
okay.
God. Okay. AJ and I were talking about that, and I was like, oh.
AJ loves locking people out of the game. Don't let him tell you otherwise.
Yes, I'm aware. I played against Turgrid on Sunday.
Yeah, and you missed the golden era of Astaxa as well, which was literally just like
He told me-
a
he told-
stasis in play, and you're never gonna untap any of your permanents or play another card again until
He told-
I hit you to death for 4 damage every turn.
He told me the story about how you guys locked one of the Jester's owners in a game for like 3 hours because you all had stacks of decks.
Yeah, AJ was playing Astaxa, and Mason and I were both playing Duretti stacks.
Yeah.
Just putting the most heinous Magic cards in existence into play that are just like do things like creatures can't attack, lands don't untap, destroy all lands people control, etc. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
Taking out frustration is what it sounded like.
Yeah. So, I don't know. For me at least, like Magic, like I found a lot of expression in it in terms of like working on my commander decks. I've had a ton of fun with that. I think that, I think that's just a part of, Final Fantasy cards getting me excited to actually, want to put together stuff and then see it operate as well. And then, and then Limited's flexing a puzzle part of my brain because you got to make something out of nothing. So
I will say, to be completely transparent, I think the Final Fantasy set was very well done. It seems like a well-crafted set. The flavor for people who like Final Fantasy is really good. It's, again, just I have an intrinsic problem with the Fortnite-ification of everything. Like,
Agreed.
everything has to be everything is the only thing I don't like about it. Like, I wish more IPs maintained their own identity instead of, like, everything just becomes an accumulation of like Disney buying everything level, and Fortnite has a contract with literally everything, and like I know it makes money at the end of the day, but it's not
enjoyable.
it's not the way I want to engage with something. I want to engage with what it is and not what everything else is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like that's just that's just like where like I stand on like I think that they've done two of these like universes beyond sets like extremely well, like Fallout, Assassin's Creed, and then what was it? Warhammer.
Oh.
I don't know why.
And Lord of the Rings.
Well, no, Lord of the Rings was a set that went into standard. That's my issue.
Okay.
I don't think that they should be going. So like they should go into Commander, where Commander is much more of a for fun format. Where people absolutely want cool icons and stuff. To play. To build around and to play as their commander. Like, it doesn't need to go into normal sets. You can just keep Magic as Magic.
For context, for both Juan and for
Yes.
people who do not play Magic or don't play as much Magic, Commander is a format in which you pick a legendary creature, and that card exists in its own zone, and you can cast it at any time that you could cast a card that would be in your hand, basically. And you usually build your entire deck around whatever that card does. So, like, if you like Lord of the Rings, you could build a Legolas or Sauron deck. If you like Final Fantasy, you can build a deck around whatever Catgirl, Twink, Ryan likes. You can build them around like. I had a Be'lakor deck, which is like it was all demon synergies for Warhammer, etc., etc. So, like, for people who don't know, it's like. Commander is a set that people can really get into the nitty-gritty of like building a deck for the coolness sake instead of like the sake of winning a tournament, because it's more of a casual beer and chips kind of gameplay than something like Modern or Standard or Pioneer would
Right.
be. More like I describe it more like a board game experience than a competitive TCG experience for the most part.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So
it's a different itch.
Yeah, that's what I think is good about it, is because you when you were working at Jesters, I remember talking to you about it when you were teaching me. And I mean, it's good just to give something to everybody, because people can really like Magic but be inherently just not good at playing competitive. And I feel like that gives people a way to still have fun in tournaments without, wanting to kill themselves.
Yeah.
The skill gap and monetary gap in Magic is also massive to get into the game for competitive formats, and like most people don't want to get into a game and spend as much money as it takes to compete in something like Modern or Legacy, which are not Legacy, but Modern is a very popular format, and the decks are all between $800 and $1,500. So it's like trying to get someone to invest that amount of money to play a card game is pretty insane. Whereas Commander, you can go buy a $40 pre-con and then go play with your friends who all spend $40.
Well, maybe they need to get their money up.
Yeah, for real. Get those stacks up.
That's true.
Commander's also just I feel like a lot more appealing to people in terms of, you get to choose someone that either, you think is cool or, you identify with, and then you can, build, you get to build your entire deck around them, and then, that identity, that play style is like what you get to like develop. It's a very creative format.
Yeah, that's why my commanders are a demon who likes to torture people, a dragon who meditates, and a goblin who wants to make 1 billion goblins and kill everyone.
Yeah,
pretty punk rock.
Yeah.
On point.
Yeah, pretty accurate.
Yeah.
No falsehoods detected.
So,
They actually.
Now,
I'm reading Dune.
I was gonna say.
I'm reading Dune.
that's
You're
exactly what I
reading
wanted
Dune.
to say.
Nice.
Yeah.
He's straight Dune in it, guys.
Let me see. Gross. Oh, I'm straight gooning it. So I'm on chapter 10 of the. Well, I'm actually at the end of chapter 10 of the first book. I basically made it up to. Oh, I finished Stormlight Archive for anybody who was still cared about that. Great book series, ended very interestingly. Basically, nobody won, and the bad guy. Well, actually, the bad guy won. Nobody else did. So that was very interesting. But so
Nice.
I'm reading Dune finally, and I'm about at the part where Paul almost gets assassinated in his bedroom because of the stupid doctor. And his mom finds out about it, and it was like, about the time she got the note that, hey, they're going to try to kill your son. and then he basically almost dies at the same point. So I stopped about there because the day was getting close to ending, and I don't listen to my books at the gym. But yeah, dude, I'm liking it a lot so far. It's a little bit harder to keep track of some of the crazy names because I'm not reading it. I'm listening to it on Audible. Like some of the crazy words that they use, I feel like would be a lot more contextual if I could see them every time they're repeated instead of just hear them without being able to actually visualize like what the word looks like and all that shit. But yeah, dude, I really, really like it. It's got me in already. The one thing I will say about the audiobook that I'm listening to is it's a full cast audiobook, and I'm not typically a big fan of those. It kind of like takes me out of it. I just prefer the reader to make whatever voice he's going to make for everybody instead of having a bunch of random people just come up on screen, in quotes, on screen every time there's a scene change. And the one other thing I don't dislike about it at all, is just very noticeable, is how quick he changes points of views and scenes. He basically gives everybody's point of view in every single scene that they're in, and it can be a little jarring until you can really get used to the way that he writes his books.
Yeah, that is definitely true. It gets a little bit better, in my opinion, with some of the later books. I feel like he gets better at kind of controlling the perspectives. But it does make it interesting because you kind of get to see the different angles of a situation.
Every angle of the
Which is
situation.
cool. Yeah. It does in the second book if you decide to continue reading the series, which I think the first 3 or 4 books are really good. The 5th and 6th one are probably worth reading, but they weren't my favorites of the series, basically.
Okay.
But if you keep reading, a lot of the where it jumps between different people's perspectives is very interesting once the themes kind of expand more from just House Atreides.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I probably will, especially if you said they weren't particularly your favorite. They'll probably be cheaper. But so I'll just read them because I like to have a complete story. But what was the thing that I was gonna say about it? Damn it. Talking about point of views, you're talking about the later books.
I have to ask you how you liked the part where Mother Mahayam is interrogating Paul with the gum jabbar, puts his hand in the box.
I mean, it didn't really make me feel anything one way or the other. I do think the child of prophecy thing that they set up at the very beginning and like the interludes of every single chapter, they confirm that he is. That seems like a little bit rushed. Like it seems like they really just right off the bat, they're like, hey, this guy is the Naruto of the books, just so you guys know. And I felt like that they should, because clearly he's clearly very gifted immediately. And everybody who interacts with him, which this is what I really like about the point of view thing. Like I said, because I don't dislike it, it's just interesting. But the good thing about the point of view aspects is that everybody who interacts with him basically acknowledges the fact that he's like as good as them as long as his emotions are kept in check. And they're all adults and he's 15. So I like that aspect of it, but like I don't know, I mean the box with the pain and everything like that, I felt like it was a little just interesting how they kept referring to some humans as humans and other humans as not humans. I think I'll learn more. I think it'll have more of an impact as I know more about the world.
That's fair.
Because you got to think they don't really talk about the fact that, because they don't even talk about the robots and stuff until after that scene, like how they don't do that anymore or whatever, and that any of the semi-robot sort of people that look like people are a turn off or whatever. Like they don't even cover any of that. So when she's just like, yeah, I'm going to kill you if you fuck up, I want to make sure you're human, I'm just like, well, what else would he be? And then they don't really explain it until later that there are other subhumans or different classes of humans.
Well, the thing that she's speaking of is like if you can't control your fear and your decisions, you aren't human. It's not necessarily that she's like testing if he's a different species or a robot. It's that she's saying like you're no better than an animal if you can't control your fear and pain to the Bene Gesserit.
Which, yeah, I guess I do remember her explaining that a little bit now that you bring it up. And, I mean, I think, like I said, I think the impact of a lot of the stuff that happens earlier in the book is going to make a lot more sense as I get more world building, because I feel like some stuff is really starting to come together now. Also, I really like that women are like the smart people, and everybody's just like, yeah, I mean, you might not be able to do it because you're a man. This is women's ideas. Women are, like, I like that sort of thing because that seemed pretty progressive at the time, I guess. But
Yeah, he definitely Frank Herbert definitely has some not progressive things in the book as well. But it was written a long time ago or whatever. But in regards to like the women and men, the first couple books, like they definitely, it is very progressive for the time that it was around.
Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. It was very interesting. Like when I started the book, the audio book, it's like 21 hours or just over 21 hours, maybe 22 exactly. And after doing 5 straight books that are 60 plus hours, I was like, oh, this is nice. This is nice. Like, I'm so excited. Like, I'm already a third of the way through the book, and I just listened to it today. So, I mean, I think that's really exciting. I know every book gets longer, but I think the longest one taps out still at like 30 hours.
Well, the second one is a lot shorter than the first one. The second one, I think, is the shortest in the whole
Oh,
series.
okay.
And honestly, the first one is my favorite just because it sets everything up, but I actually think the second one is my favorite in regards to themes and the character development and everything is very interesting.
Okay.
Third one is the craziest, in my opinion. Like, it is the most, like, he's just, like, balls to the wall. Okay, I've hooked you people. I can write whatever the hell I want now.
I like that.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to hear more about what you think as we go, because there's a lot to unfold. I'm literally looking at chapter summaries right now because I didn't want to say anything that you don't know yet, because like there's so many things that happen that are very important. So
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not particularly crazy. Like, I'm not going to be super pissed about it. But yeah, I think it'll be better when we have a two-way conversation about it. But since it's Monday, I'm assuming I'll be done with the first book by Friday. So hopefully by our next podcast, I can have a good overview and we can actually go a little bit more in depth about it.
anyone listening to this that has not read Dune, you should read or listen to Dune. If you like sci-fi. If you don't like sci-fi, you could probably take it or leave it. But it is the sci-fi book of all time. It is what most other modern sci-fi is based off. It is to sci-fi what Lord of the Rings is to fantasy.
You can already see, I could see all of the Warhammer, where Warhammer got a lot of their beginning ideas from. I could definitely see it.
Yeah, as you progress to, it gets even more direct. Like even Ryan's favorite faction in Warhammer, the Admech, their flyers are literally based off of the ornithopters from.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. I like I like reading books from all periods. I like watching movies from all periods. But I definitely something that gives me like it just gets me like very excited is when I could see like what modern stuff I love got their ideas from. You know what I mean? Like how ODST is basically based on Alien 2, like how Halo. I mean, I guess I'm trying to think like I can't remember Halo off the top of my head, but like basically all fantasy is just a remake of Lord of the Rings. Like I just love all that stuff, dude. Like I love when I can draw exact parallels. Like when they were talking about the Imperium and how it kind of functions and space travel and all that stuff. I can't wait to learn more about the Guild too. So that's the one thing that I want to tell you is that I'm super excited about. But every time I get like
more about
a parallel to Warhammer, I'm just like, oh, it's like when what's his name? The guy from Wolf of Wall Street, whatever that actor's name is, like when he's pointing at the TV screen with the cigarette and the beer. I love that,
dude. Leonardo DiCaprio. Yeah. That is, I feel that.
So funny.
You learn a lot more about the guilds in like the second and third books.
So excited.
But you do learn a decent amount about them later in this book as well, and they're very cool. My favorite part of the book, without spoilers, is I feel like Dune really explores fate and free will and like how those things, people think about those things and how they exist or whatever, and like what is fated and what is choice. I think it's very cool the way that prophecy and prescience play throughout the the entire book series.
Well, they've already basically kind of hinted at that, and I thought that was a very interesting take on it myself. And the two examples I have is when Paul's dad is like, "Yeah, we trained you as a hypnotap or whatever the fuck that thing's called, but now you have to make the decision: are you going to continue or
Mentat,
not?" What's that?
right? Isn't it Mentat?
Mentat. Yeah, they were like, "Yeah, we trained you as that since you were a baby. Do you want to keep doing it or not? Because now you have to make the choice." And he's like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'll keep going." Like, that's awesome. That is basically just like his trajectory will be in a completely different, in a completely different direction if he was just like, no. And then the other one was when the mom was talking to the house caretaker, and she just kind of went along with it. And the lady was like, "Oh my God, you're the woman of prophecy." And then the mom was just like, "Oh, thank God I got those answers right. Like, or they're gonna kill me." Like, I thought that was super cool, dude. I really like that.
I like how
Jessica. That's her name.
Another thing where there's like, there's elements of like, again, what is fated and what is like put into play by the Bene Gesserit. Like what elements of Paul's ability are actually a fated heroic return or archetype, and what are implanted by the Bene Gesserit to create this ideal person to control people. You know? And I think that's really cool. And also, it's like absolutely crazy that he is trained as a Mentat and a Bene Gesserit, and is also heir to one of the great houses. It's like they really fucking set him up in the book series with just like he's a little bit of everything and all the best parts of all of them.
Well, see, that's the one thing that this is actually what I want to tell you about another parallel I had noticed, and you just reminded me of it. I don't know why I'm having a hard time remembering stuff, so sorry, guys. I know it's kind of frustrating podcast, but I mean, Game of Thrones is just a fantasy rendition of these books, kind of. Like, you got the houses, you got the power plays, and then you got the chosen one. And, I mean, Jon Snow is basically based on this guy. Like, oh, he can use the old magic, the new magic, and he's probably a Targaryen. And then they talk, all the stuff that they're setting up for Paul. And I'm just like, oh, okay, well, at least I know where George R.R. Martin got half of his fucking ideas. Because, I mean, like, seriously, like, not the first one or two chapters, but every chapter after that, up until about this, the murder attempt on Paul. I mean, basically, like, that's the entire first book of, like, what they set up for Jon Snow. Like, it's almost exactly, like, the same thing, except in a fantasy setting. I don't know if have you read the Game of Thrones books?
I have not read them.
Oh, okay.
No.
I want you to read those next, if you can. But
I might. I've honestly been holding off because I'm afraid he's never going to complete the book
I think he kind of confirmed it a few months ago that he won't. But he said that when he dies, he's got somebody to finish it. I just don't think he will finish it.
Yeah, that's pretty lame.
It is really lame because he already has like 1,200 pages wrote for the last, but just put it out. Like, it doesn't, whatever, dude. Just put out what you have. Anyways, you were saying, though?
Especially at this point. Oh, I was, something.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Speaking on this topic, unless you have anything more to say about it, I wanted to also, since we're talking about Dune, talk about the Dune game. So the direct parallel that I want to talk about is that the game is actually set in an alternate universe in which Paul was not born.
Okay.
It's set in a universe in which Duke Leto is given a daughter instead of a son. And she is actually a Bene Gesserit witch. Like, she is fully goes through the training, and as such, Jessica goes through more training, and she is able to sense the upcoming betrayal, and so it basically is like a complete spiral off, as if there was no Paul in the universe or whatever. So it's already interesting in that way because the Sardaukar end up going to Dune, to Arrakis, and they basically exterminate the Fremen. And so it kind of like spirals the whole game to a completely different direction than the book. That's a weird side-by-side that at first I didn't know how much I liked, but so far the story progression has been pretty interesting. and the story is pretty in-depth for a survival game, where a lot of the time the story is kind of second hand to the gameplay. Yeah. Whereas, like, in the game, you actually go and you go to the different locations and you take spice and you hallucinate and you learn new skills and information and, like, learn about the planet and everything. And I'm not super far in the story yet, but I have been enjoying the gameplay loop a lot. A lot of survival games are very heavily based on PvP. This one has a lot of PvE, which is pretty fun to engage with. It still has a lot of the kind of grindy, like, getting resources to get stuff, to get new, to make new stuff, to get new resources, etc. But the there's a lot of drama in the game that I feel like is missing from a lot of modern games, in the sense of, like, the worms just eat you. There's no fighting back. Like, if you are in the desert and the worms hear you and come out, you just get eaten by Shai-Hulud. Like, that's it. You lose all your shit. Is, like, one of the only ways you just lose all your stuff is if you get eaten by the worms. So it actually creates a very scary kind of effect for them, because they are, like, the most threatening thing, which I think is really cool, because, like, that plays directly to how they are in the books a little bit more so. And you actually get to fly the ornithopters and make them, and you have to go and land in the deep desert areas and collect spice, and, like, as you're collecting the spice, there's, like, a meter that shows you the worm is getting closer and closer, and you have to collect the resources and then get back in your helicopter and fly away before the worm comes and eats your whole party.
God, that sounds so stressful.
Yeah, it is stressful, but in a fun way. You know, it creates a sense of urgency, and it makes something that would normally be, like, the late game of, like, a survival game that's just, like, mining resources, and turn it into something that is stressful and scary, but also fun, because you have to kind of coordinate with people and everything.
It's pretty sick.
And also, of all the survival games, this is one of the only ones I'm aware of that has, like, a full class system. You can choose to be a Mentat, a Bene Gesserit. You can choose to be a sword master or a soldier, and all of those things play out with your skills you learn and, like, what kind of role you have within your siege, which is cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, I can't think of any survival games that really have that. They're usually always, like, you know, find and then build weapons and then go from there.
Yeah, and just kind of, like, you usually learn, like, blueprints kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Build, but there's no class system, and you level up, like, your HP and your damage or your speed, but not you don't get unique skills or whatever. So, for example, like, the Bene Gesserit has, like, the I can't think of what it's called, but the run or whatever, where they, like, run super fast or whatever, and they can also, like, choose enemies and, like, basically nullify them with the voice in fights or whatever, whereas, like, the Mentat I'm playing as is, like, poison darts and can, like, calculate angles for shooting to make headshots do a lot more damage and stuff like that. So it's cool that each class plays out pretty uniquely. But I just wanted to say that I've played more of that game, and it's been very, very fun. I'm not even to the late game content yet, and it's very cool.
It's pretty sick.
I've never been a big fan of survival games like that, but it being in a universe that interests me might make me a little bit more prone to do it. Like, I've always wanted to play Death Stranding, because I know Ryan wanted to talk about that. But I look at the gameplay and I'm like, I think I'd rather kill myself.
I just finished installing on my PC. We're gonna give it a old-fashioned try again, because I played like 10 hours of it and got frustrated at there's some, like, stealth parts in it where, like, you have to, like, hide from, like, these shadow things that come out of the ground. I don't know, dude. I can't explain what the fuck happens in Death Stranding. That game is so odd. But also at the same time, if you're just there to... I've talked about it with, like, Red Dead Redemption, in the sense of that you gotta take it slow and understand what the full game has to offer. So that's what I'm gonna try. Is to treat it more as a management simulator that has story in between. Because I really do like Kojima's writing, and everything that I've seen about Death Stranding 2 makes it looks sick. And I've read some really cool articles about it as well. So I'm going to give it a shot. I've been playing Shin Megami Tensei 5
what is that?
It is like Final Fantasy Dark Souls, so turn-based but fast paced and difficult and punishing. So I've been playing that, and I've logged about like 16 hours so far, and I've been really enjoying the story for it so far. The story has been, for an anime game, it's actually like pretty good. It's essentially like the plot is, it is post-apocalyptic Tokyo, and God basically like 10 years ago, during the apocalypse, just made a perfect copy of Tokyo at that point, and has been keeping it protected from the demons and hell. So it's now hitting a point of where it's starting to overflow, and then you get this proto-fiend fused with you, and then you just become a demigod, essentially, and start beating the shit out of stuff. So, some really cool and epic fights, some really punishing combat as well. It really wants you to... like, in Pokemon, maybe it was just me, but, like, if you ever had, like, a stat-reducing move, you would just get rid of it for, like, a cooler damage move.
Yep.
Half the time. You can't do that in this game. Stat reduction is like actively how you stay alive against bosses, because bosses are going to be stronger than you. So the basic mechanic of how the turn-based works is that it usually goes like, hey, my party's gonna go and then you're gonna go, right? So instead, let's say there's 3 people in your party. You have 3 turns. If the first person hits a weakness of the enemy, you get to go again. So it's called the press turn. So it really pushes you to optimize your team to specific situations. But this also works for the enemy. If the enemy hits your weakness, they get to go again. So it leads to some really nasty situations, like let's say the enemy crits you, right? They get another turn. So they can crit your main character, and then they can just attack him again, and then it's game over. It's just bullshit like that sometimes.
I have a question for you. So are you going to play Death Stranding 2 when you're done with this game, or are you going to play 2 games at the same time?
I'm gonna play Death Stranding 2 after. I'm not buying any games. So for a minute until I finish a lot of stuff in my backlog, unless it's like Game Pass, where it's just already there.
Well, I know you're playing the Tensu or whatever that game is called, so I was just wondering.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out how you play multiple games at once, because I genuinely can't. It just leads to me not finishing games.
Shin Megami Tensei is like a turn-based RPG. It doesn't really I usually play it when I'm watching TV or something, right? Because I usually have to do a good amount of grinding to actually get my party to where I want it, and then I'll just pause my TV and do that. Death Stranding is more a full commit game, if that makes sense.
Oh, okay.
I have to put everything down and pay attention to this game. So that's usually what I do is I usually have one game that's it's my side game. I play it and I have fun with it. Stardew Valley has been that for the last month and a half. I kind of fell off with it, but definitely Stardew Valley was that, and then Shin Megami Tensei has been filling that up. I've been watching Big Mouth and then playing it. So
How far are you in the last season of Big Mouth?
I'm almost to the 7th season, so two more to go.
Cool. I like that show. I think it's
Me too.
It's starting to hit a point where I just want it to be done, but I think it's just because I've watched too much of it in a short span of time. Definitely hitting the middle of the 7th season, and I'm yeah, I'm good. We could wrap this up. I still like what's being presented, and I think it's funny. Maybe it's just a sign that I need to take a break and just go watch something else for a little bit and come back and finish it, because there's no harm in me not finishing a comedy show Like,
I mean, it's got a
maybe
pretty
I'll just come back
solidified
to it.
story, though. This isn't just like a normal.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I just can't relate because once I start that show from season 1, I have to watch every episode because I fucking love that show.
I do understand that you can only hear John Mulaney talk about wanking it so many times.
Yeah, that's...
Okay. I maybe
Yeah.
Can't relate.
but
That's my favorite part.
It's been like it's been 7.5 seasons of it, and I'm like, it's still funny, right? I'm still having a decent time with it. I definitely am just like not enjoying it as much. But again, it's almost over, so.
Yeah, I've been taking a
like-
break on Star Wars, and I've been continuing in on Naruto Shippuden, and I only ever take a break from it because I don't like it to go too fast. Like, because I love this show so fucking
Makes
much,
sense.
I'm like, all right, I gotta turn it off, or I'm just gonna watch the entire show in 3 weeks. So it's like the complete opposite of what you were saying with Big Mouth.
Yeah, I can get it, but I don't know. I'm odd with TV shows. I still have to finish Severance.
God, it's only like fucking 8 episodes. Have you not finished it yet?
I have like 2 episodes left. I was gonna watch it with my brother, but then my brother flaked out on me, and I, it's been like 2-3 months, so I'm probably just gonna have to rewatch the season at this point, which is gonna be a commitment. So, might do that after Big Mouth or something like that. I also need to finish Righteous Gemstones, which I think I'd much rather do.
Oh yeah, that was good too.
God, that show is so good.
Yeah.
Well, with Severance, I don't get how you
Um,
didn't, because it literally is like every single episode has a fucking cliffhanger, and it's like I needed to watch them all. I cut you off though, Hunter. What were you saying?
Well,
I was gonna say I have big news for Juan. One small segue about Dune again. Robert Patterson is gonna be playing one of the main villains in the second Dune book in the next Dune movie.
Now I gotta fucking watch those movies.
Finish the book and then watch them.
yeah.
But it's like if he's in it, I have to watch it.
Yeah,
Damn
he's playing someone. I think he's gonna play really well too. So I'm very excited about it.
All right, well, you'll have to come
We-
over
you know,
one
we need-
weekend and we can watch those 2 movies back to back.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say. We need a boys' day and watch all the Dune movies.
Yeah, dude, just take off
Yeah,
our
definitely.
clothes, snuggle up under a blanket, and watch some movies. Just boys being boys.
We gotta watch. Ryan gets mad about that stuff. He gets grumpy.
You don't like snuggling with the boys?
What the fuck?
Famously, on the last podcast, 2 podcasts ago now.
Oh yeah, he was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go home. I don't want to fucking snuggle with the homies.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay,
Kind
that's
of
pretty
kind of a
interesting because
heartbreaker.
he's actually been kind of on a streak right now recently too, where everything he's been in has been really good. I think he's refined his acting, so I think that probably, and it's also like the main reason why I haven't watched the movie so far is I hate Timothy Chalamet or whatever his name is, but I do recognize he's a good actor, so I'm sure the movies are pretty good.
I like him just
I
fine.
hate him so much, dude. I hate his face. I really hate his face.
Is it because he's such a pretty man? Is that what?
No,
don't
you know
like?
I like pretty boys. Shout out my boy Hunter. But no, I don't know what it is about him. I haven't liked him in anything he's in, and I don't like his face. Not a big fan of his voice either. I have no reason to dislike him other than the fact that I just really don't like looking at him.
You're afraid you're gonna get a cut from his chin.
He does got a crazy chin. It is off the wall, dude.
I think he plays a really good Paul. I'm a big Dune fan, and I am not feverishly angry at the movies like a lot of Dune fans were. But
Well, it makes sense to make 2 movies for a book because then you can put more of the book in the movie. So why were people pressed?
and again, as you mentioned earlier, it's a 20-hour
Yeah.
book. So making 2.5-hour movies is still cutting 25% of the book, or cutting 75% of the book.
Yeah, I don't know why people would be mad about that. You feel like, when it comes to, I mean, they probably should have made a TV show, but when it comes to movies and books, I mean, more is more. It's not less is more. I mean, you always are going to get a higher quality the more movies they make per book. Like Deathly Hallows Part 2 of the Harry Potter is like, a famous example is like the last 3 books are gigantic, and then they only made 1 movie for the 2 books, and then 2 movies for the last, and then you were like, oh shit, they probably should have did this the whole fucking time. A TV show probably would have made a little bit more sense though.
Well, they at one point did a TV show of Dune.
Oh, in the 70s, right?
Actually, I don't know. Well, there's a movie that oh, why can't I think of his name right now? David Lynch,
Yes.
I believe,
Yep.
directed the original ones, and then there's also a TV series. Yeah. It was done. Well, there's also a new TV series that's Dune Prophecy, but that's set before the events of the Dune novel.
Oh, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, like way before.
Does it cover those 1 books that are like the prequel series that his son did?
They are loosely based on some of those.
okay.
Yeah.
Loosely based is not that's not usually a good thing.
Well, to be honest, I could not really get into the extended universe outside of these 6 books that were written by Frank Herbert.
Yeah, I get that.
I think to be honest, I don't think they're really bad. I think I just had an impossible expectation for his son and his friend who wrote those books to meet as to what I wanted it to be like. I guess they kind of have a different image for what Dune is than I think their dad did, or his dad did, so it's just different.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with liking it or disliking it either. I mean, for the people who really wanted more, it's probably a dub. For the people who are just fine with the books that they got, that's fine too. I think it's, honestly, I mean, I always like when there's more for people, but I'm somebody who I definitely don't always need more. Like, if I'm not enjoying it, I'll just not partake in it. I'm definitely not going to go on Facebook and cry about it.
I might.
I only particularly did that with Halo Infinite because it's like it's a mainland entry that's supposed to finish the goddamn story and it didn't, and it's booty cheeks. But like for other stuff, like if there's a complete series and then they want to add more, I mean, that's perfectly cool. Like if you do partake in it or not, I don't judge either way, especially if I'm not interested in it. I'm not gonna judge somebody who does like it, because who doesn't want more of something that they absolutely die for and they're perfectly fine with the extra they get? Like all the extra Star Wars shows I've been watching. Like I'm watching Ahsoka right now, and you basically needed to watch Star Wars Rebels, which is that booty cheeks Disney show, to really understand who all these people are and all the motivations. I don't think the show Ahsoka's bad particularly, but I mean, I recognize that I probably will only ever watch it one time, and if people really, really do like it, I know most people really like it, and I'm happy for them. It's just not particularly my thing.
I honestly had enough of Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. I'm happy for people who wanted more of her character, but I feel like watching the Clone Wars series, I learned about what she was about, you know, and like her interactions with Obi-Wan and with Anakin and with the clones and everything. I think was I got a lot of her, I got enough of her character, I guess is what I'm saying. Like I didn't really feel like I needed a lot more of it to be fleshed out, but I'm happy for people who really like the character.
Well, you probably don't want to watch this show because it's based around a character you're perfectly fine not pursuing more of, surrounded by characters from a TV show that's not even particularly that good.
I could not finish Rebels.
It's so bad.
Honest. I started it 2 different times, and I don't think it is necessarily just bad, but it's bad to me because I feel like it's like the first season of Clone Wars where it feels like it's very much aimed at a very young audience.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Which is totally fine, but it's just like it's worse than the first season of Clone Wars. And like Clone Wars kind of came around and they're like, oh, our audience is like teens and people who are older than teens or whatever, primarily. But that show is just like, it's made for a very young audience, I feel like, and I just didn't particularly like it because I feel like it doesn't explore the heavy themes of Star Wars that I do like.
Yeah, the last season I thought was actually really good, but that's the 4th season. And it's like, I'm not going to ask somebody to watch 66 episodes of a show to get to the one good season. Like, it's just not worth it, dude. And, I mean, yeah. I think Ahsoka, I really, 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 really like Ahsoka, but I like when she pops up in other things. Like, I'm perfectly fine when she was in The Mandalorian. I actually really liked when she was in The Mandalorian. In Star Wars Rebels, I really liked when she was in it. But, I mean, I don't think she needed her own show. Not when there's so much amazing canon that they axed. I'm just sick of the Rebel time frame. Like, I'm really fucking sick of the Rebel time frame. Just give us something else, dude.
Yeah, I'm ready for. To be honest, I really wish they would start to either explore the Old Republic or something after the events of the Rey Skywalker, like, First
Yes,
Order era.
I agree 1,000,000,000,000%.
I'm ready for them to, like, explore, like, the KOTOR, like, Knights of the Old Republic era. I think would be really awesome because I think Revan would be an incredible character for them to explore on a TV media or, like, a series media. And Malik, I think, would be really awesome. Characters for them to flesh out in official canon. And I'm ready for the plot to move on. I'm kind of ready for more post-Skywalker Star Wars. You know, like, I'm ready for where they want to go next. Like, what's the next big struggle? But I feel like that's part of the problem, is that the whole identity of Star Wars is so attached to kind of the Skywalker era for a lot of people that it's really hard for them to escape that.
Yeah, well, that one show came out, Acolyte, which takes place 120 years or whatever before episode 1, and people hated it. And it's like, this isn't it's honestly one of my favorite Disney shows, Disney Star Wars shows. And it was really, really well done. Great characters, great fights, cool new ideas, and people hated it. And I think that's what you're saying, is like, people just don't want to move on from it. But it's like, I do, because a lot of my Star Wars was reading the books that had nothing to do with the Empire. Playing the video games had nothing to do with the Empire and the Rebel struggle. Like, I don't need more of that, because that's not the Star Wars I dealt with. My Star Wars was the Clone Wars and the stuff way before the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it is, as much as I love, you know, Darth Vader is one of my favorite villains in all of cinema. I'm ready for the progression. I'm ready for them to move beyond that era of Star Wars, either way before or way after. I think that there's so much that they could explore.
Old Republic, baby.
I know.
That's what I want. I want so bad. I would.
They will never do Old Republic.
They said they were going to, but then they just keep putting it off. They literally keep putting it off.
No shit, dude, it's Disney. Disney doesn't want to do anything adult with Star Wars. I'm really hoping that Andor gave the shareholders enough of, like, a pair of testicles to, like, actually do something with Star Wars that, you know, I'm just gonna swear. Like, I don't care. The part that irritates me about current Star Wars is that Star Wars is the same. I can't find a good relation, but it suffers with, like, a lot of media where, like, it has. I was thinking of Destiny, where, like, there's so much cool shit about it, but it's never explored. It's just hidden.
Yeah.
Like, Star Wars, it is always Jedis. It is always the same shit. And then, like, even, like, The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian was cool, and then, oh, Baby Yoda. Ah, Yoda, you know Yoda. Give me something.
Love Grogu. You better calm down over there.
I don't care. I did not like it. That's my hot take. I was not a fan of Mandalorian.
That's insane.
I don't care. I don't care. I'll die in the. Donnie, shut up. I'm bitching about Star Wars.
I can understand what people didn't like about Mandalorian, but I love the Western genre and I love Star Wars.
Yeah,
so it was
absolutely
perfect for me.
I just didn't
really like the cowboy with an unlikely ally.
Yeah, that's
whatever,
absolutely
an relation, and it was like the classic, like, real gruff tough guy who is very protective of something. It's a classic tale, really, of a dad and a dog he didn't want. Is really what the Mandalorian is in a Western setting, and it is perfect.
In every way.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean,
I do get what you mean.
I can understand.
I do get what you mean.
Like,
so I mean, like, I want them to explore stuff that is not just Jedis. Like, I mean, like, Rogue One. Rogue One wasn't Jedis. And it was awesome. Like, it still went back and did, you know, like, oh, Death Star.
Vader killed
yeah.
Him,
God, no, I liked the characters that they did in Rogue One. I think that they were the best ones that they've done. I think that they have a really good knack for writing characters, but I think that they also have a knack for not putting them in the right scenarios. Like, I feel like it's Finn. Finn was in the new Star Wars movies, right? I feel like he was underutilized. I think he was my favorite new addition to the cast, and I feel like just did not do him justice.
Yeah, I think they were supposed to make him a Jedi counterpart, and they were just like, nah, people don't like him that much, so we're not going to. And it's
but
like,
I
what
don't
the fuck
get
are you
why
talking
he
about?
was. I'm not dissing on. I'm not. It's who's the actress's name that plays Rey?
Daisy Ridley.
Daisy Ridley. Yeah, Daisy Ridley. Daisy Ridley did a fantastic job.
I agree.
I liked her. She's not. It's nothing against her. I think it's just the way that the new movies are structured to where she just was not set up for success. It's the same thing with Finn, where where it was like the first one. Donnie, stop. It's the first one that was really good, right? I really enjoyed that, and then the second, third one I did not like. But Rogue One, in between the first and second new one, right? I loved, and then it just feels like they changed pace, or they were just rushing it. I don't know. I'm saying all of this, right, just to air my grievances about Star Wars, because I think that it is a fantastic universe with so many beautiful pieces behind it that they're just afraid to explore because it's not what common media is looking for. Where common media is everyone, right? They want everyone to watch the show. They don't want some people to watch the show. They want everyone. So if it's not a super popular topic, they're not going to do it. So but I think that most genres and stuff like this get defined by taking risks and stuff like that. I think that they have the prime library to do it, right?
Yeah. Well, my thing too is
Star
they need
Trek,
to stop trying to make everything so kiddish. They just need to make. There's nothing wrong with making stuff for kids. I mean, it's Star Wars. You want to get kids into it so you can have them trapped forever like us. But you need to make something for adults too. I mean, the original Star Wars trilogy is not really that kiddish at all, except for the stupid little bears. The Clone Wars wasn't super kiddish, except for the Gungans. But it's now they've just transferred hardcore into the Disney feel of it. It's Andor was more gritty, and it's gone down as the greatest Star Wars media ever. It's got to be gritty and adultish. Yeah. Guess who's paying for stuff? Adults. Make adult media.
I also think that the way that children have been fed media, in terms of lower ages, they don't watch TV shows.
Yeah,
it's not really aimed towards them anymore. If we're being realistic, I think that I made jokes about it's just oh my god, tablet kids, what's gonna happen to them a few years back, and we're finally seeing, which is just retention, and then it's not only retention, but it's actually wanting to stay invested on something. I just don't like it. So TV shows and stuff like that, I feel a lot of younger kids are just not watching. So Star Wars, they need to realize that not just as a I think it's more as the shareholders need to recognize that kids are not the target audience anymore for this. I think for a good majority of shows, kids are not the audience anymore.
I agree with you.
Because, again, they're just shifting. A lot of kids don't want to watch, sit down and actually watch a 30-minute episode or an hour-long episode. You know what I mean? They want to sit on their phone, because I do too. I'm guilty of it. But I've been trying. Exactly.
These fucking kids and Ryan.
Yeah.
And
dude,
me. I'm guilty of it sometimes too.
My phone will buzz. Someone will send me a TikTok, and then I'll be on TikTok for 10 minutes, and I'm like, what the fuck just happened in my show? I was guilty of it with Sopranos. I had to rewind Sopranos so many times.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't really touch my phone when I get home, but I know that most people do, so I get that.
I do. I've been trying not to, but I don't know.
But alright, boys, it's getting late and I'm getting hot, so why don't we end this up? You guys got anything else for us?
The last thing I wanted to touch on a little bit was just the Total War item update is very awesome. They streamlined a lot of things, and they did the best kind of update that an old game can have, where they just improved the files. They made the load screens faster, and they reduced the total amount of space it takes on your PC, which is like the kind of the dream for the diehard veterans of the game who have been playing it for like 5 years. You know, like what could be better than just updating the game to be easier to play and more fun, faster. So I was very happy with that.
Yeah.
As well as the item overhaul for a lot less visual clutter and a lot less useless stuff and just kind of more meat and potatoes of the game.
I love that. I love when people do that to their
I'll
game.
Very, very happy with it.
I'll have to re-download it. I'm about to, start hauling packages across whatever landscape this is I am in for Death Stranding, so I will let you guys know how that goes, and if it lasts for longer than 2 hours.
I know one package you're hauling, bro.
Jesus Christ. All right, boys. Feel free to follow us on all social media. Definitely leave a comment so we can bring it up on the podcast. I will try to have the first Dune book done by next week so we can deep dive into it. Thank you for joining me today, boys.
No problem. Dune.
All right.